This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. The indie space is always the one to go to if you're tired from what the AAA market provides you. Retro shooters being a big one where you can get new experiences in older and more classic design. They have been successful, so if you want more titles like classic Doom, Quake, and even GoldenEye, check the indie market. At the same time, I really like when we see developers doing something really different, or combining elements from other games in a new way. This was done with Severed Steel with great movement and shooting, and now this very same team is working on something new that appears to take elements from their prior game and present them in a new way, along with other fresh ideas. Let's take a peek at Echo Point Nova. Right out of the gate, I really enjoyed this first-person shooter. The movement options are impressive, to the point that this seems like a satisfying platformer as much as it is a shooter. Zipping around the map is pretty awesome, and it's done at very fast speeds. Thankfully, the snappy shooting allows you to hone in on your foes while also maintaining that momentum. It's a really fun shooter, and one that as I dove deeper into it, I think this is going to be one that you can work on your skills with. It sort of reminds me of Devil May Cry in that sense, that yeah, you can get through a fight by holding back and shooting, but the better players are the ones that can better use the movement. With the shooting, we'll probably be providing some of the most impressive sequences and moves to witness. It's fun, stylish, and gives the players something to work towards. Let's go over some of the basics. Right from the start, you'll notice the speed of the game. Echo Point Nova is very fast. You'd think that the initial movement would take some getting used to, but this felt just fine and ensures the action and pacing are rather high. The first area or so is about breaking down the mechanics and giving you a taste of the shooting. You have access to a jump and then quickly gain your double jump. The jumping is solid and works well by providing verticality to the design of the game. Shortly after this, you get a taste of the shooting, which is pretty good, and then you earn a hammer. This is your first melee weapon, while also being a tool that lets you break down most walls and objects. A similar mechanic was seen in their prior game, and I praised it there as well. This mechanic allows for a lot of potential interesting options, and honestly it reminded me of Red Faction, where in those games you could tunnel yourself to different rooms, and each of the gunfights left the room changed because of all the damage. When you take the movement options here, firefights, and now this destruction, you can see the potential that I'm referring to. For example, right after getting the hammer, it's pretty cool because you will see a building right above you and there are clearly enemies inside. Now yes, the game does naturally lead you down a path that you want to take, but because of the destruction and platforming, you could create your own hole and bust right into this outpost, and essentially start that area from the middle, and now have a completely different experience than what was maybe initially intended. This sort of stuff has the potential to provide a lot of opportunities for player expression and choice throughout the game. If you are presented with an area to clear, do you take the main path, find a way to get on top and take them out from that way? Or maybe something even more creative. This can effectively turn each combat situation into providing a lot of replay and creative personalization. And the funny thing is that there were more mechanics that I hadn't even seen yet at that time, and so far I was impressed with what I saw. When it comes to the other movement and platforming options, you get access to a grappling hook, and this furthers the distance that you can go, especially when used with your double jump. You'll earn abilities as well, like being able to drop down a fan of sorts that can push you up, giving you a greater boost upwards. Now I didn't know much about this game going into it, other than that it was made by the same team that did Severed Steel, so I had no idea that there was going to be a hoverboard. This provides you with a more direct boost, and can even be used to ram enemies, and is your main means to essentially wall run. So your movement quickly goes from being simplistic yet very enjoyable to now being a bit more extensive, and I think this is where much of the skill comes into play. The game does do a good job of introducing each of these mechanics, but when you are in combat situations and expected to use all of them to survive, that is where things are going to get a bit more tricky. I quickly learned that it was going to take some time and practice to fully utilize my options, from being able to double jump, when to shoot my grappling hook, along with how to use my hoverboard, along with everything else. Now there is traditional progression in this title from earning experience points, providing you with more health and perk points, which options that you can toy around with depending on what perks you choose. But there is a substantial amount of player skill that you'll want to work on, and it's so rewarding to do so. I'm not good at this game at all, but in some situations when the movement and shooting clicked great for me, I was making the right choices reacting on the fly. It sort of reminded me how being creative and stylish is satisfying in a game like Devil May Cry. Now let me touch on the gunplay again. Since everything is so fast in this, when you aim down your sights, this game sort of locks on to the enemy that you're looking at. This works most of the time and ensures that you're being efficient and can properly dispose of your foes as you are zipping around. Now in fairness, I did have a few instances where switching between targets did cause the camera to go nuts a bit, but I think this is something that can be worked out through more player testing. Shooting on its own is solid. The guns sound and feel good to fire. I got to play around with a pistol, SMG, shotgun, and sniper rifle. Something else I like is how the action and combat is effectively pushing you back into the firefight, rather than away from it. As you kill enemies, they will drop health and energy. You need both to survive. Energy is used to fuel your slow-mo meter, and once full, you can get a leg up on a few foes. Now as you progress, you'll find new powers like a fireball to destroy ice, but there isn't an easy way to switch your powers like your firearms. Thankfully, the developer told me that he is going to implement a fix, so there's going to be something like this, so you don't need to stop into your inventory to change your special each time. I do have a few questions that I wonder about the full game. Is there going to be an option to restore broken walls and objects? Because with being able to break many things, the player could find themselves in a situation where they destroyed too much and now they are stuck. Along with this, I do have some concerns with the balancing. The game can be played in solo and online co-op, and I only played in solo with this build. I hit a few spots where it felt like some of the firefights were just harder because I didn't have someone else with me. So I hope that the final build has better balancing to account for solo and co-op players. Echo Point Nova is a really fun game so far. I love the mix of the movement, platforming, and gunplay and how it all gels together. It does seem that this title might rely a bunch on working and improving on your player's skill to fully utilize each of the mechanics and abilities. I'm not very good at it now, but even as I kept playing the demo, I found it rewarding to get better at knowing when to jump, bust out my hoverboard, or when to fire off my grappling hook. This is a different yet very fun first-person shooter that I would recommend you keep an eye out for, and if you're interested in it, a demo will be released on PC so you can try it out for yourself. I think we are in good hands, especially with their prior title, Severed Steel, being awesome, so I hope to get the same level of quality here, and I wish the developer the very best of luck on finishing their game. Are you interested in Echo Point Nova? Have you played their prior game, Severed Steel? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.